I want to welcome everybody to our Celebrity Alaska Cruise and Cruise Tour event. And I'm going to go ahead and spotlight Bo and Brendan. 1 second. Spotlight for everyone and spotlight from everyone. And let me spotlight myself as well.
Wow. So, I like this spotlight thing. Wow.
Yeah, that way, we're front and center and everybody can see us clearly. So we are recording today's event, and the idea is that you feel very much comfortable sharing the recording with your friends and family. We do have a little, little something that we have put together with Celebrity at the end for those that attended the event for you to make your next celebrity booking. But anybody that is watching today's event and anybody that is watching the recording of the event can actually take advantage of it. So if you have any friends or family that you feel might want to hear this or learn about this, please feel free to share it. We love, we love being in front of more people. So throughout today's event, a couple of things are going to happen, and I'm going to just in 1 second, I'm going to introduce Brendan and Bo. But let me do some quick housekeeping things first. Number one, we are going to be pushing some questions, some polls within the next few minutes, and you're going to see those pop up in your screen very quick. And I hope to kind of learn a little bit more about you and what you've done and what you like. Also, we have a chat box at the bottom of your screen, which is where I'm going to type hello. So the way we do this is we're going to be talking and I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. But if you have anything in particular that you want to ask, make sure to type it in this box. And I will go through each one of those questions at the end to make sure that we don't miss anyone or any single one of those questions, and we can get every single one of those answered. Also, like I said, this event is being recorded, and it's all about a conversation with Brendan and Bo about both Celebrity and Alaska in general. And I am extremely, extremely excited about sharing this time with you guys. So let me go straight into introductions. On one side of the screen, you see Bo Friends. On the other side of the screen, you see Brendan Halcomb. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves first, and then I'll introduce myself last.
Okay, well, I'm Bo Franz. I am the sales manager and in the field sales here in South Miami area, and actually in South Florida. I pretty much work very closely with Carlos and his team at the Luxury Cruise Connections. By the way, fantastic agency to work with. I work with them very closely, like I said. So it is definitely one of my to-go-to agencies for any great offers that we have and any great opportunities that we have as a brand to help them grow the business and for them to service you, which they do a fabulous job at. So we are supporting them to support you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
And I'm Brendan. I oversee our Alaska Cruisetour program with Celebrity. Been doing this for almost 10 years now. For the 10 years previously, I worked on board cruise ships, a lot of different cruise lines. During that time, I spent almost exclusively 4 years in Alaska. I spent the last 10 years working with Alaska. So about 15 years or so, I've been working with Alaska in some capacity, and really excited to talk to you today about Alaska and some of the great experiences that you can have there, and also why a Celebrity Cruise Tour experience is something that you should think about.
So between me and Brendan, we have about 50 years of experience here that we brought to you. 37 years, and he's almost...
You see the grays? You can see the grays. They're coming through.
Rest assured, you're going to get a great information today. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I am Carlos Edery, and I'm the CEO of Luxury Cruise Connections. And with me, like I said, there is several team members that are joining today's call as well, with the purpose of being able to also interact with you guys as you are on the call, say hi to guests that might have joined the event, and also meet new people as well. But most importantly, I just want to kind of start off by saying that like Bo said, I mean, we've been doing business with celebrity for a long time, and what can I say? We love doing business with celebrity, not only because their delivery on board is incredible, but also because the relationship that we have with their sales team, with the management team, all across the management team, all the way from Katina to, which is a VP of SVP or VP, I don't even know anymore.
VP of sales.
VP of sales, all the way, and then we just met the new president as well, all the way down to operations with Keith Lane and everybody else, and obviously in the sales department. It's just such an incredible relationship that really allowed us as a cruise agency to deliver what we are meant to deliver, right? We're here to add value. We're here to deliver incredible experiences, but not just on board those ships, but also throughout the entire booking process, right? We're here to advise, we're here to support, we're here to make your life easy, and we're here to just really add value to the process, right? And the way we work is because of such strong relationship. We actually not only can add value in terms of our service, but also in terms of sometimes pricing being also very competitive. But I'm going to let Bo talk about that later. Before we get started, like I said, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So one of the first questions that I want to ask is, have you had an opportunity to visit Alaska before? So I already know Steve's answer, but I'm looking forward to hearing everybody else's. Have you had an opportunity to visit Alaska yet? And let's see those answers come in. And let's see. So far, a majority of you guys have. So that's good. That's good. That means we're dealing with a tough crowd here. No, just kidding.
Not only that, I'm sure most of them have only done cruise only. Well, we're going to be talking about cruise tours as well, and that's where the opportunity is.
Maybe. So we can't make things up as we go, Brendan.
We don't do that, anyways.
And okay, so a majority of you guys have already been in Alaska. Let me ask you another quick question as we go. Have you ever been on board celebrity cruises? That's my next question. Have you sailed with celebrity before? I want to know. All right, so far majority of you guys have sailed with celebrity before. So also about 70-80% of you guys have sailed with celebrity before. That's good. That's good. All right. So that means that we don't need to convince you about how great celebrity is. You already know that. At least majority of you guys do. That's good. All right. Might be a very easy conversation today, I guess. And then my last question that I want to know, at least for now, is have you ever done business with Luxury Cruise Connections before? So we'd love to hear your answers on that one. Have you ever done business with us, Luxury Cruise Connections, before? So we, of course, being a luxury cruise agency and dealing with lots of all major cruise lines, but obviously an incredible relationship with celebrities. So have you ever done business with us? So far, it's a split, almost 47-53. All right, so we got 53% of you guys that still have not had the pleasure of doing business with us. So all right, hopefully after today's event, you'll give us an opportunity to introduce you to one of our advisors that can maybe help you book your next celebrity Alaska cruise. And that'll give us an opportunity to show you what we're really all about. So let's get our event started, shall we?
Yes.
All right. So Brendan, just so you know, I did get the pictures and images you sent me. I'm going to keep the screen like this, and I'll only share the screen to show images and pictures. But aside from that, I'm not going to be necessarily going through a presentation. We find that might bore some people. So this is going to be very much of a conversation. And so I want to start with just a very general overview of celebrity. Let's talk about celebrity first. What's going on with celebrity, and then we'll go into Alaska. So this question is for both. Bo, give me an overview of celebrity for that 20% of the people that don't know celebrity, and to validate those other 80% that have.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Well, like I noticed, a lot of people here has been already on celebrity. Celebrity is an elevated premium cruise line. True and true. Anything that we offer on board our ships is an elevated in the premium category. Plus, the premium plus. That's the status. That's where we are in, and that's where we would like to be, and we would like to continue staying. Our focus is very, very much in the service, the quality of service, attention to details, our destinations, our cuisine. It's very important to us when our guests get on board that they have the best cuisine, with our Danielle Baloud being our chef and 5-star rated cuisine. And it's very important to us. So between this very important cores of our business, that's where really our celebrity is excelling at and continue to excel at. And we pay very attention to our guests that are repeaters. They love the brand. They want to come back. So we are continuously looking for things to improve the brand. And we are never a sit still type of cruise line. We're always looking for opportunities to improve, and we listen very well to our guests, and their guest comments are very, very important to us. Every day, every cruise that goes on, we have comments that we take very at heart, and we are continuing to really, really get this, keep the elevated experience that we offer day in, day out.
I have particularly witnessed the growth and development of the brand for the last 17 years that I have been in this industry. And I'm just going to say that every single one of the ships in the fleet of Celebrity right now, they're beautiful. They have their own soul. They have their own, I'm going to say, vibe to them, right? And I think there's the right ship for the right guest. But in my personal opinion, I think that where Celebrity has gone and where it comes from, and where it is today, and after seeing the last generation of Edge class ships, right, and after learning what's coming in the, for the future of Celebrity, I couldn't be any more excited to partner with a company like you guys, because we share the same values, right? We all very much look forward to making clients happy. You're very client-centric, right?
Absolutely.
Easy to do business with. We know that when we put a client on board your ships, they're going to have fun, they're going to enjoy it, they're going to like it so much that they're going to book another celebrity, hopefully on board, if not refer other people. And that makes our life easy, right? And we also know that when things don't go exactly according to plan, because that can also happen, we have an incredible team that supports us, making sure that we make it right for the client. And I think that's the big difference. And I think that's what kind of where it shows how much we align in terms of our values. For that 20% that haven't been on board Celebrity, you should know that while it's a relatively large ship experience in terms of it, ships holding over 2,500 people in general, you're going to have a very upper class experience, especially if you haven't tried the retreat product. I very much recommend you do, because the experience when you're on retreat is just even that much more elevated. But in general, the cuisine throughout the ship, and the experiences, and the decor, and the service, and the smiles, and the entertainment. Oh my God, the entertainment! Wow,
fantastic, wasn't it?
Wow.
You really rocked it.
Yeah. I mean, I was blown away. I've always been blown away with what I've seen in the last ships that have been. What I saw on board the Ascent was, I've never in my life seen something like that. It's insane. So I highly recommend it for everybody. And as we go in and talk about Alaska, you now have an Edge class ship doing Alaska. I mean, how amazing is that? Can we talk a little bit about that, please?
Yes, absolutely. I would give do you want to take it over, Brendan, since in Alaska, or you want me to take it over?
No, it's absolutely. I think if you talk a little bit about, but let me talk about the itinerary that Edge is doing in Alaska. So we're super excited that Celebrity has 3 ships in Alaska. We have Edge, as was mentioned, that's doing a round trip Seattle run. Then we have the Solstice that does a Vancouver round trip sailing, and Celebrity Summit does the open jaw sailings between Vancouver and Seward, or Seward down to Vancouver. Now, when you think about the coastline of Alaska, when you think about all of the opportunities that you have to cruise in Alaska, 98% of them, unless you're talking about Nat Geo or Uni or any of the kind of really adventure cruise lines, 98% of them are all operating in what we call the Inside Passage of Alaska, which is basically between Ketchikan and the Gulf of Alaska and Seward. When you think about destinations like Ketchikan and Icy Strait Point and Juneau, Skagway, Glacial Scenic Area Cruising. They're all operating there. So there's slight variations in the itinerary. Celebrity Edge does a core itinerary for us, which is a 4-port, 1 glacier itinerary along the southeastern coastline of Alaska, very similar to a lot of our other ships. Really, what's different when you think about the different sailings in Alaska is whether you go on what's called the outside passage or the inside passage. Do you go through the Johnston Strait, which is a strait between Vancouver Island and mainland Canada, or do you go on the outside of it? Typically, when you go on the outside of it, you'll visit Victoria, which is what our round trip Seattle sailings does, and that's what Celebrity Edge does as you transit to go on to the inside passage of Alaska. So great itinerary, includes Victoria, goes on the outside of Vancouver Island. It's just a great way to explore the Alaskan coastline, certainly as part of being on Celebrity Edge, which is a revolutionary ship for us.
I was saving that question for later. I'm just gonna put that off so you guys at least can visualize a little bit of what Brendan was talking about. But I'm gonna come back to this very soon. I first want to kind of introduce our conversation of Alaska, talking about why go to Alaska in the first place and what can you expect to experience in Alaska. Like why should I go home and tell my wife, let's go to Alaska?
I mean, the why for Alaska is some core bucketed experience. I think that when anyone backs out their reasons to want to go to Alaska, and certainly the consumer research backs this up, is that it really buckets out into 4 main areas, which are wilderness and wildlife and mountains and glaciers. That's what folks want from an Alaskan experience. Now, there may be something there that is specific to you because of a TV show that you've seen or a book that you read or a family member that went there, whether that's Hubbard Glacier or a specific destination, or maybe connecting with a particular Alaska tribe like the Tlingit on the Pacific Northwest coast, or whatever it might be. But it buckets out into those key individual areas. It's wilderness, it's wildlife, it's mountains, and it's glaciers. So when you think about the opportunities for those 4 things in Alaska, they are huge. When you think about wilderness, it could be anywhere from being on the southeastern coastline, doing flight sightseeing, surrounded by the Tongass National Forest with the Misty Ford National Monument towering above you. It could be in Kachemak Bay State Park with the volcanic mountains erupting out from the ocean. It could be in Denali National Park with its 6 million acres of pristine wild and wonderful land. All of that wilderness is in Alaska. When you think about wildlife, there are the key wildlife, or what we call the Big 5 of Alaska, which are the moose, the caribou, the grizzlies, the Dall sheep, and the wolves. Great opportunity for that in the interior in Denali National Park. But of course, on the coastline, you've got bald eagles, you've got whales, you've got the Stelis sea lions. There's so much wildlife to experience in their natural habitat. When you think about mountains, tallest peak in North America, and then of course glaciers as well. That's really the experiences that people are craving when they go to Alaska.
So it's interesting because me as a traveler, I realized that I'm definitely not a I like history, but I'm not a history buff myself, right? So I like every so often I will want to do that trip and go see 500 different churches in Europe. But for the most part, I very much enjoy, traveling to scenic locations and seeing wildlife and exploring a little bit. And so, if my wife says, "Hey, let's go to Africa, or let's go to Iceland, or let's go to Antarctica, or let's go to those are the sort of trips that I know I'm going to very much enjoy, because I can be as active as I want to be, but at the same time, I can be as relaxed as I want to be, while I get to tour and experience and travel, and just enjoy wildlife and scenic views, as opposed to having to do tours of churches and historical sites every single day. So if I want to go and see whales, for example, that is my why. To travel to most places right now. I just really like whales. When should I travel to Alaska then?
Well, I mean, any point in the time when we're in Alaska is going to be a great time to experience whales because we're traveling there in the summer season, right? So what happens is that we are sailing and land touring in spring and summer and early fall. Now, for whales, specifically what's happening is that the whales are in Hawaii in the wintertime because that's when they're giving birth to their babies. And what's happening is in the springtime, they're crossing the Pacific to get to the feeding grounds of Alaska. Alaska is rich for whales to feed. So that's where they want to fatten up. That's where they want to grow. So what's really nice is that particularly in May time, I would say you can get some really active calves. Calves are, of course, baby whales. And as again, they're coming across from Hawaii, they're very active. They're very excited to be there. And that's when you're seeing the whales that are leaping out of the ocean. Certainly earlier in the season, you have the great opportunities for bubble net feeding. This is when whales are hunting cooperatively, diving below schools of fish, using their blowholes to catch them. It's complex, amazing to experience, and almost uniquely Alaskan because it's the coastal glaciers in Alaska that provide the nutrients for bubble net feeding. So whether you're talking about Juneau, whether you're talking about Icy Strait, whether you're talking about Ketchikan, you're really going to have great opportunities for whale watching when you get to Alaska starting in May time.
In May time. So since May, I can, which is the beginning of the cruise season anyway.
Beginning of the season. Yeah.
Okay, good. And what else? So for those that want to explore Denali, is there a better time to try that northern part of the cruise itineraries?
I wouldn't say there's a better time. There's just different times when you're going to get different things. I think this is one of the most common questions that you get about Alaska, which is what is the best time to go to Alaska? Well, there's no best time. There's just different times are going to give you different things. If you go to Alaska in May, really, whether you're talking about the coastline or the interior, number one, you're going to have less folks there, right? Because you're outside of the key part of the summer season. That can be nice to not have as many people that are in the ports of call. You're also, as I mentioned, going to have the whales that are very active in feeding as they have just moved across from the Pacific or Hawaii to come to the Alaskan feeding grounds. You've also got a little bit less flora and fauna because it hasn't quite blown out yet during the summer season. It could be nice to see that grow out. And typically, if you're in Denali, if there's less flora and fauna, maybe a few more opportunities to see wildlife because there's not so much natural coverage. As you transition into kind of June time, what starts to happen? Well, you've got summer solstice. That's on June 20th. You're going to get more sunlight than at any point in the year. 23, 24 hours if you're going up to Fairbanks, probably around 21, 22 hours if you're more along the coastline getting to Anchorage. The salmon start to spawn, kings in late May, silvers as you get into June. What does that do? It attracts the bears. If you want bear viewing, have to be there when the salmon is spawning. As you transition into the back end of the season, into fall, well, you have full foliage. Ever been to Canada, New England and seen the full foliage? Times it by a gabillion in Denali National Park when you've got those 6 million acres of pristine, wild, wonderful land all turning burnt orange. And certainly if you're going to Fairbanks at the latter end of the season, you've got the opportunity for the Northern Lights. So different parts of the season give you different things. I think the key question to answer is this, which is how much time do you have to go to Alaska? Because all of the things that we're talking about here are all natural experiences. They're all natural elements. So, the clouds could rise from Denali and you could see the tallest peak in North America, or you couldn't, or the bears could be there or they couldn't. It just kind of depends. But the longer that you go to Alaska for, the more opportunities you create for yourself for those magical, natural moments to happen. First, start out with how much time you have to go, and then look towards the point of the season, which would prioritize the things that you're looking to see.
So what? Good. That's a good segue to my next question. Is how much time should I have to plan for Alaska? Like, if I can only do 7 nights, if that's okay, or should I be planning for 14 nights, or should I be planning for 10 nights? Like, what is that ideal?
If you're just going to do the cruise, 7 nights is great, right? Because there's 7-night itineraries in Alaska. You're going to get a great variety of ports of call. You're going to get glacial scenic airs of cruising. Wonderful. What you don't get as part of a 7-night experience in Alaska is the interior of Alaska. So when you think about the coastline, when you think about the ports of call, when you think about the glacial scenic airs of cruising, you get that as part of 7 nights. But if you want to go north, which you should, if you've got the time, if you want to go north and experience Anchorage and Denali National Park and Fairbanks and Kachemak Bay State Park and the Kenai Peninsula, if you want all of that, you got to go into the interior of Alaska. Now, to frame it up, we're talking about a really, really big destination. And I know you guys know that it's big, but it's really big. If you were to split Alaska in two, those two pieces would be the first and second largest U.S. state, with Texas coming in third. So to be able to explore, to be able to give yourself time, to be able to have the experiences you want to have, you got to give yourself more time in Alaska. Now, if you're looking at Seward there, which is on the coastline, and you were to go directly, and I mean directly to Denali, not stopping, just driving, you would be somewhere in the region of around an 8-hour journey. Now, so to experience that destination, you need to spend time there. So the way that we explore the interior of Alaska is as part of 2 to 6 night pre or post land tours. So 7-night cruise plus 2 to 6 night pre or post land tours. My recommendation to you, if you're thinking about exploring the interior of Alaska, is to do a minimum, and I mean a minimum of 3 nights, preferably 4 or 5, 6 nights in the interior of Alaska, if you can, to give yourself time to have those great experiences in the interior of Alaska that you want to have. And what are those experiences? They are elevating, giving you more of all of those core Alaskan experiences that you want from going to Alaska that you will get on the coastline. Wilderness and wildlife and mountains and glaciers. You get that on a coastline cruise, but you get so much more of it when you go to the interior of Alaska as part of a pre-post land tour.
A quick question before we move on into talking about the ports themselves. What is the typical weather throughout the season? Meaning, how should people pack for an Alaska cruise tour? I mean, every time I think of Alaska, I'm relating it to cold weather. I'm also relating to rainy weather. I mean, I know that it's not hot at all, but what's the best, like, not best?
It can be. It's a great question. It can be hot, and that's the thing about Alaska. It changes every 5 minutes. It's that's the way that Alaska likes it to be. So typically speaking, though, but let's use some averages. If you've ever thought about Alaska's cold and dark, keep in mind that's the winter. We're not there in the winter. We're there in the spring. We're there in the summer. We're there in the early fall. So when thinking about that, of course, that's when you've got the most light. As I talked about, summer solstice, you've got about 22 to 24 hours of sunlight in that window, depending on the point of season that you're in and where you are in Alaska. But as far as weather goes, you're probably talking about mid-60s when you're on the coastline. That can vary, again, depending on the day, but that's certainly the range that you're in. And the weather in terms of rain, it can change at any moment. It can be raining for 10 minutes. It can be sunny for the next hour. It can be raining for 15 minutes after that. And it can be hot. I've been in Fairbanks in May when it was 90 degrees. So it really can change a lot. What does that mean for packing? It means layers, not big, heavy coats, not big hiking boots, not big, clothes in order to get you through kind of cold, icy weather. That's not Alaska in the summertime. What you want to do is be able to layer. You want light, rainproof, warm jackets that you can take on and off. You want light, rainproof, or just kind of sweaters that are warm, but that you can take on and off down to a t-shirt if you need to. For your footwear, you want it to be solid, you want it to be light, and you want it to have grip on the bottom of the shoes. So, for example, if you're going into an area that has ice, you're not going to slip and whatever it might be, but you don't want big, heavy hiking boots either. So keep it light, keep it solid, keep it layering, make sure it's rainproof, waterproof, and you'll be just fine in Alaska.
Do people have to take their own umbrella, or does Celebrity provide umbrellas for people on their tours?
I don't know that. Bo, do you know that?
Have umbrellas, yes.
Okay.
Good, good. All right, awesome. So now let's talk about, where to go and the different ports of call. I have a whole bunch of beautiful pictures here that I want to show about some of the sports that that we have here. So where do you want to start?
Let's just go along the coastline. Let's start out in maybe let's start out in Ketchikan, because that is the entryway to the Alaska Inside Passage. And you could just throw up the additional images that come with it, because I've put some ones on top of it to kind of show some of the experiences that you'd be having there. And that will kind of make it easier to talk about some of those destinations. Ketchikan is the entryway to the Alaskan Inside Passage. Basically, what that means is that it's the first port set along the southernmost entrance to the Alaska Inside Passage. Typically, Ketchikan is either the first port or the last port that you're going to be going to as part of the Alaskan cruise. It's built over water due to the difficulty in blasting away the surrounding rock. So it's a really unique town for that reason. If you've ever heard of Creek Street, the historical boardwalk Creek Street, that's an area in Ketchikan where you're literally walking through a boardwalk that is over 100 years old, that's set up over water. It's got some really interesting curio shops. It's got some great salmon watching. There's a area of Ketchikan which is called Married Man's Trail, where you can literally see the salmon that are jumping up the waterfall. It's very cool, very easily accessible. One of the real joys of traveling the southeast and south central and the interior of Alaska as part of a cruise tour is to connect with the differing native Alaskan cultures, like the Tlingit in the Pacific Northwest coast, or the Athabascan ethno-linguistic groups in the interior. And you've got great opportunity to do that in Ketchikan as part of the totem poles that you can visit, again, that represent the Alaska Native coastal peoples. Also very easily accessible from the port is the Lumberjack Show, which is just straight up a fun and exciting family show. There's competition tree climbing, souped up chainsaws, running along floating logs. Kids especially will love it, as they will all of Alaska. It is such a great family active destination. No disrespect to Disney. I know you're recording this and I don't want to get sued. But if you think that Mickey Mouse and the Magic Castle created a sense of wonderment in your kids or your grandkids or your nieces or your nephews, try seeing them watch a 50,000-pound whale breach the ocean. Try seeing them, watch them be 10 meters from black bear fishing for salmon. What you're seeing here is an image from Neats Bay Creek in Ketchikan. Opens when the salmon season begins. It's one of the best destinations on southeastern Alaska to see black bears. And then I talked a little bit about this before, but flight sightseeing amongst the misty fjords is really, really special. You fly amongst the Tongass National Forest, which is the largest intact temperate rainforest in North America. You've literally got the rock formations that are jutting 300-400 feet out of the ocean. The almost constant precipitation is what creates the mistiness in misty fjords. It's just a very cool wilderness experience, and everyone should take an opportunity to see Alaska from up top. Whether it's flight sightseeing, whether it's cable car to the top of the mountain, whether you want to do that hike to the top of the mountain, there's such beauty in the different perspectives that you get when you see Alaska from up top. But so many cool experiences that you can have in Ketchikan.
Cool. And where do you see?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about glaciers, because I think folks, rightly always want to know about glaciers and understand the types of glacial experiences that they can have in Alaska. Without getting all romantic with you guys, because it's a little bit early for that, but if you've been to Alaska, you'll know one of the truly spectacular things about Alaska is that so many of the experiences are, cannot be articulated. They've just got to be felt. Mark Twain talked about this when he wrote in 1880 that a man who keeps company with glaciers comes to feel tolerably insignificant by and by. And if you've ever been in the presence of a glacier, you start to kind of understand that. Basics of a glacier are as the rain comes as the rain comes across the Alaskan coastal plains, it hits the Coast Range Mountains and dumps down into very heavy wet snow that compacts down into ice, and with time it creates a glacier. Alaska has more glaciers than anywhere in North America, and literally one of the finest displays of tidewater glaciers, which are the valley glaciers that come down to the ocean, than anywhere in the world by a long, long way. And as you're in the ports of call in Alaska, you've got lots of opportunities for glaciers. So you think about Mendenhall, maybe when you're in Juneau, or you think about the Harding Glacier as you're in Seward. There's just lots of opportunities in the ports of call. But as you are cruising, you're going to have scenic glacial cruising from the ship. Now, you may have heard about names like Glacier Bay or Hubbard Glacier or Tracy Arm Fjord or Endicott Arm. These are all glacial scenic areas of cruising along the southeastern coastline of Alaska that you will have generally the opportunity to experience as part of your cruise. Now, not all cruise lines include glacial scenic cruising as part of their itineraries. Celebrity always includes a glacial scenic cruising as part of its itineraries. And, you know, really what's important to know about these is that they're all fabulous, but they're in their own individual and unique way. They all have their own personality. So if you've heard about Glacier Bay, wonderful. Lots of different formations of glaciers, some tremendous tidewater glaciers that sadly have been thinning and receding over the last few decades. Tracy Arm Fjord, you sail through a narrow passageway of land with rock formations on either side that reveals the northern and southern Sauria Glacier that are beautiful. Endicott Arm, which is on the southern edge of the Terra Wilderness, has a 3,000-foot enclosure that reveals Dawes Glacier, standing 600 feet tall and half a mile wide. And then there is Hubbard, which is what you're seeing on your screen here, which is the largest advancing tidewater glacier in North America. Since measuring has begun in the late 1800s, Hubbard has been thickening and advancing. This is 7 miles wide and in places 15 stories high. And where we're sitting right now, this view is Disenchantment Bay, where the captain slowly spins the ship for everyone to have magnificent views. As a dedicated onboard naturalist narrates the experience, it is an awesome day. And when the calving from the face of the Hubbard calves into the ocean with the crack and the booming that can be heard more than 2 miles away, you begin to understand why the native Tlingit people called it White Thunder. It's an amazing experience. The glacial scenic areas of cruising are amazing experiences. And frankly, whichever one you have as part of an Alaskan cruise will be a very special day.
I'll share the screen again. Can we debunk a myth for a second? Some people get obsessed with being on the starboard side of the ship or the you know what I'm talking about, depending on what the ship goes. Is that a real thing, or is just overhyped?
It's overhyped. So basically what happens is that as you're cruising the southeastern coastline of Alaska, clearly you're going to have land on one side of the ship, right? But usually what happens is that by the time you go out to sail to the destinations and ports of call, you're so far out that you're really not seeing that much of the land on the side of the ship that is relative to land. And when we come into dock, the captain can dock on any side of the ship. It doesn't, just because the nose is facing forwards doesn't mean we're going to dock on that side of the ship. They're going to dock on the side of the ship they need to. So they can easily be turning the ship around. And of course, if you're doing a round trip sailing, then you're just coming back the other way anyway. So, if you're doing a northbound, southbound itinerary, maybe, but not really.
And those scenic glacier sites, the ship just turns around all the time to make sure everybody has a good sighting.
Same thing. And if you're going in Tracy Arm, you're going through a narrow passageway of land. If you're doing Endicott Arm, you're spinning it. It really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. Let's talk about Skagway for a second. Let me share my screen again. Talk to me about Skagway. I mean, what's so special about Skagway?
Well, what's wonderful about Skagway, what's wonderful Skagway is that it is the gold rush town in south central Alaska, and that's because much of the town is within the Klondike Gold Rush National Historical Park, and that's basically because back in the day, in the late 1800s, it was the starting point for 40,000 prospectors who were headed to the Yukon by way of the Chilkoot Trail. And I think I've got an image here that you can kind of throw up on the screen from Skagway, or maybe I don't. That's all good if I don't.
Maybe you do.
There you go. Yeah. So this is a really cool image. This is the prospectors who were hiking to the Yukon by way of what's called the Chilkoot Trail. And this is crazy. The British Canadians wouldn't let prospectors in unless they had 1,000 pounds of equipment and food for a year. And they're hiking this trail, as you can see. It's minus 20 degrees. The avalanches could easily kill 50 men at a time. And it's part of what's wonderful about Alaska, which is that it is rich with the history of perseverance and their pride in that perseverance of what it took to settle Alaska. And you feel that when you go to Alaska today, that pride in what it takes to live there today and what it took to settle there back in the day. Now, in the late 1800s, the Yukon and White Pass Rail was built, and that's the image that you see on the screen. That's the rail line that was used to get the prospectors to Canada. And that is the rail line that you can travel today. And it is just an awesome, awesome day. It's got, of course, the incredible history from being the rail line that used to get the prospectors to Canada. It's got the incredible scenery, the peaks and the valleys, the differing perspective as the elevation changes over 3,000 feet. Now, when you get up the top into Canada, my recommendation is that instead of taking the rail back to Skagway, you can get off the train, rent a bike, and it's just an easy 15-mile downhill coast to get you down to the town of Skagway. And you've got, of course, all the beautiful scenery along the way. So it's a fun town. It's a town rich with history and great opportunities to have wonderful scenery as well.
Okay, and then one more. Last but not least, before we talk about cruise tours themselves, talk to me about Juneau. I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm a huge whale fan. So,
yeah, and I really talked about this a little bit before. So I was talking about the bubble net feeding and the opportunities for whale watching, and that's certainly true for Juneau. So let me just kind of add into that conversation. In addition to the whales, the opportunities for easily accessible glaciers. I talked about there being opportunities for glaciers in the ports of call. Well, certainly one of those is Juneau. What you're looking at is Mendenhall Glacier, which is just 12 miles away from the port. It's a very easily accessible glacier. There's tremendous views that can be had of Mendenhall by boat or by hike or by plane. Actually, a sister of Mendenhall is Norris Glacier. Norris Glacier is actually the destination where you can do dog sledding on a glacier. So if you've ever seen the actual dog sledding that's done on snow, that's an opportunity that you have in Juneau to do it on a glacier, which again is a system of Mendenhall. But all of these glaciers are part of what's called the Juneau Icefield. Now, the Juneau Icefield is over 1,500 square miles. An amazing, amazing viewing experience and just kind of quintessential wilderness. NASA chose the Juneau Icefield as some of their pre-lunar training, so the training to go to the moon, as it's one of the destinations on Earth that, I quote, captured the emotional sensation that one might encounter while walking on the moon. That's the kind of amazing experiences that you have when you experience the Juneau Icefield. But all of that is just very easily accessible from the port of Juneau.
Now, these are all shore excursions, right? I mean, this is not stuff from the ship. This is, you take these tours, as whale watching tours and so forth, or dog sledding tours, or whatever, and that's how you get to those experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's many other ports to talk about, but I want to jump straight into this conversation now, specifically about cruise tours, right? So just to recap real quick, we talked about different types of itineraries. We talked about 3 ships doing obviously the cruise part of the experience, the Edge, the Summit, and the now. If you want to do your 7-night either round trip or one way, we said you can do that. But then Brendan has been talking about really extending the experience to explore a little bit deeper into Alaska. And that's when we go into this cruise tours. For those that haven't done it before, Brendan, what is a cruise tour in concept?
It's simply a combination of 2 things: a 7-night cruise from Vancouver to Seward or Seward down to Vancouver that is combined with a 2 to 6 night land tour into the interior of Alaska, either before or after your cruise. So functionally, all that's happening is that you would be flying into Vancouver during that 7-night cruise where you would debark the ship in Seward and then join the land tour for 2 or 6 nights, flying home from Anchorage or Fairbanks. Or alternately, you would fly into Anchorage or Fairbanks, do the 2 to 6 night land tour that would take you down to Seward, where you would join the Celebrity Summit for the 7-night southbound sailing that would take you down to Vancouver, and you'd fly home from there. So you have an opportunity to do a northbound or a southbound cruise tour experience, but it's just 2 things. It's the ability to explore both the coastline and the interior of Alaska as part of one experience.
Why should I do a cruise tour with Celebrity as opposed to me planning my own pre or post extensions?
Ease, comfort, convenience, seamlessness. Remember, I was talking about the size of Alaska. I mean, you're talking about a very big destination here. You're talking about roads that, Alaska, there's constantly road renovations that are going on because of the permafrost that is underneath Alaska all of the time. It causes havoc with the roads. So the ability to get around, the ability to be in places, to see the things that you want to see, to have the experiences that you want to have, that requires navigation, that requires orientation, that requires trying to be in the right places at the right time and doing it efficiently in order for you to, get the stuff out of the way, like the hotel check-in and the transfer to the next destination out of the way, so you can be doing the things that you want to do, which is explore the destination, have the experiences, have the great meal, be out in the park. Look, I'm not someone who, sorry?
I have one more reason, availability.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact, trying to book people on hotels around a cruise in any of these destinations. And the truth is, most cruise lines either own or buy out availability on most of these hotels, especially the better hotels. And so just trying to get a room is sometimes impossible.
Yeah. I mean, and the Alaskan interior is a different beast to, for example, the coastline or a lot of areas, specifically because it's not really open during the winter. You go to places like Denali, or you go to places, broadly like Talkeetna, you go to a lot of these destinations, they're not open in the winter time. So there's about 5 months when they have to make money. There's 5 months when people have the opportunity to go there. So there's very intense interest and volume of people that are going there because it's just not open all year round. It's not accessible all year round.
Right. So what is your favorite cruise tour experience, or which one is, like, when somebody says, I want to do a cruise tour, what's the one you always lead with?
Well, if it's okay with you, let me tell you a little bit about what a Celebrity cruise tour includes to kind of give you a guide as to the types of experiences that you have. And first thing is that we're always going to use the finest properties available anywhere in the interior of Alaska in each of the destinations that we go to. And super important, because what's key for us is that we want to go to amazing destinations. We want our guests to be easily accessible to communities and key areas of interest and have those wonderful wilderness and wildlife and mountain and glacier experiences. But the interior of Alaska has a great range of properties. When you're traveling with a Celebrity, you know that you're going to be staying in the finest available property in each of those destinations. Now, sometimes that means something like Hotel Alyeska, which is by far and away the most luxurious property anywhere in Alaska. And sometimes that means somewhere like Denali Park Village, which is like a national park style accommodation on the outskirts, easily accessible to Denali National Park. Very different accommodations, but always the finest available in each of the destinations that we go to. Another key part to it is that we're a fully escorted experience. I can't say enough about this for being able to have seamless, wonderful experiences in the interior of Alaska. When you fly into the interior of Alaska with Celebrity, you're met by one person, your dedicated local tour guide. And they introduce you to your dedicated motor coach driver. And they show you your dedicated deluxe motor coach Typically speaking, there's about 44 celebrity guests on board that dedicated motor coach, and you have the dedicated tour guide and motor coach driver for them for the duration of the land tour. Now, your tour guide is doing everything that you would expect a tour guide to do. They're pre-checking you into the hotels and giving you your keys before you arrive there. So you don't have to stand in line and do all of that. They're making great recommendations about where you should eat. They're narrating the journey when you go there. They are booking your optional land excursions. They're doing all the things that you would expect a tour guide to do. Your motor coach driver is doing the things you'd expect a motor coach driver to do, which is focus on the road and stay safe. But they are also transporting your luggage from the motor coach to the hotel room and the hotel room back down to the motor coach, so you don't need to be dragging that around. And then, of course, your motor coach is dedicated to you for the duration of the journey. To compare and contrast, and I don't want to get into particular lines or anyone else, but the industry standard is what's called a representative-led experience. That means you fly in and a rep meets you. They help you check in somewhere, and when you get on the bus the next day, the driver is serving double duty as both the driver and the narrator. You get to that destination, there's a representative, and they help you, and then the next day there's a new bus with a new driver who's doing the same thing all along the way. So it's a very different experience for the industry standard. We really feel that this is the way to experience Alaska. And then finally, transportation. I talked about those deluxe motor coaches, but rail travel, so key as part of an experience in Alaska. And if you guys have got that slide up of rail of Wilderness Express, it would be great if you could throw that up just so I can talk about it just a little bit.
Which one exactly? The one
it should show a map of a rail line going up through Alaska with some rail carriages on the right-hand side of the screen.
Let me make sure that
Alaska Railroad.
Talking about the same one. This one?
No, it's got a map of a rail line that goes up and then some rail carriages on the right-hand side of the screen. It's okay. I can talk about it. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah.
But just scroll down. There you go. Alaska Railroad.
There you go.
So typically for us and for most other cruise lines, for us and most of the folks, we're doing what's called following the rail belt. Typically speaking, your cruisers follow the rail belt of Alaska. So when you're looking at Seward on the bottom left-hand corner there, that line is just the rail belt of Alaska. That's the Alaska Railroad. It's a state-owned organization. They own the rail line. And then they've got engines that, of course, pull all the rail carriages. But the rail carriages themselves are either state-owned or independently owned. We simply use the very best that's there. There's nothing better than what's called the Wilderness Express rail carriages. That's the right-hand side of the screen. Got those beautiful domed glass roofs to be able to enjoy the scenery of Alaska when you're traveling through it. 80 persons up top, luxury wide, well-apportioned leather seating, bar service available at the seats, power at the seats, a restaurant down below with a chef on board for meals available for purchase. It is such an awesome day. Every single celebrity cruise tour includes one rail segment, whether it is Anchorage to Talkeetna to Denali, or Denali to Fairbanks that you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen. But some of our cruise tours includes multiple rail segments. So what's included on a celebrity cruise tour that's different? It is the lodges, it is the service, it is the transportation. And then it is the fact that we include many included experiences as standard. The tour into Denali National Park and so many others are included as standard as part of your cruise tour. And that, we believe, is what makes it a wonderful experience.
I think I'm sold. What is what is included in the entire experience, including from what's included on the ship to what's included on land?
Yeah. So, Bo, do you want to kick off and talk a little bit about the ship?
Absolutely. So our beautiful ship Summit is doing the part of the short, this part. And as you know, the Summit have been revolutionized. So we literally went back to that ship as one of our older ships, and we went to the guts of the ship, started all over again, and kind of called it, edgetized it. We made it look like the Edge class that we currently have, the latest and greatest ships we have. So rest assured, this beautiful ship, while it's seems the look of it is an older ship. The inside is completely redone, brand new rooms, brand new bed-ins. All the public areas have been revolutionized, changed. We added our experience of the retreat in here on this beautiful ship, so they have their own areas within the ship that we call the ship within ship concept when you are on board our class of Edge class ships. So it is really a new ship, and at the end of the day, internally inside this beautiful ship. So that is part of the experience that they're going to get, a brand new ship with a great experience of cruise tours.
And in terms of the pricing, the inclusions in the pricing, when you do a cruise tour, can you also do cruise only, or do you do all included? So it's usually the cruise tour, it has the all included package, right?
You have the option for, if you're talking about the amenities, right?
Yeah.
In terms of Wi-Fi,
yes,
etc.
exactly.
So you have both a rate only and an all-included option for cruise tours or Alaska cruise only. I don't want to get too much into the nuance of it because it's a 2025 thing, but basically moving forward, you have the rate only option and you have the all-included option for cruise tours and Alaska cruise only. But it is worth saying that the amenities that are included as part of all included, they are specific to the ship. They're not specific to the land component of the cruise tour. Your Wi-Fi, your drinks package, etc. That's all going to happen on board the ship.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. And then the inclusion of the tour, that obviously airfare is not included, but then your transportation to and from the lodges and hotels is, and all the touring.
So what's included on the land component of the cruise tour are your transfers on that side of the experience. So when you get to, let's say you're flying into the interior of Alaska and you get to Anchorage or Fairbanks, your transfer to get to your first overnight hotel, that's included as part of the cruise tour. You've got your overnight lodging, you've got your transportation to and from the destinations, including Denali National Park. You've got, of course, your dedicated tour guide and your motor coach guide experience. And then you've got included experiences as well. So think of these kind of like excursions, but they're already built into the land tour itself. So when you do the excursion to Denali National Park, or you do the cruise down the Chena River, or you go on the Gulger Jade experience, whatever it might be, those experiences are included as standard. And that's something we identify, in the different resources that we make available for cruise tours.
Okay. And Bo, let me ask you this question. What is the best way to book a celebrity cruise tour or a celebrity cruise in general?
What is the best way?
What is the best way to book it?
Travel agent partners. There is no question. You guys are the ones who should be booking these cruises and these cruise tours. We allow you to have some great rates to begin with because of our partnership. As you know, you guys hold some group space for a long, long time with some great prices that if somebody calls today, those prices might not even exist ever. So that is part of who we are, and as a partnership that we've been working with you guys so long. And plus, you guys know everything that it needs to know. You are going to be able to save a lot of time for the guest from A, research, B, knowing exactly what they need to do and how to do it, when to do it. You guys know this is what we go continuously. You guys learn every day, and that's what the experience you have gained from so many years for being who you are, being a partner of Celebrity Cruises. I can't see anybody book it better. Honestly, people can call directly and book it, but they will not have the service you guys giving them. I work for the brand, and I can tell you that if you go directly, call Celebrity directly and book it, you're going to book it. But I don't think the service that you're going to get with Luxury Cruise Connections is going to be near what we're going to be giving you. This is the honest truth.
Could they possibly get a better price if they book direct with Celebrity?
There is absolutely no such thing at all. The same, like I said, you would be holding group space that we don't have when they call. When they call, they're going to get whatever is at that point available. You are holding some group space that are held a year ago that they will not be able to get today. So no, the advantage is to book with you 100%. Okay,
good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for the endorsement. And for those that are attending,
it's all true. It's a reality.
I didn't pay you to say that. That's for sure.
It's totally a reality of the business. Thank you.
Thank you. And one thing that, like I said at the beginning of our conversation, We did prepare something, a little something for those that attended today's event, are going to be eligible to receive of the $200 onboard credit if you book a cruise tour, or a $100 onboard credit for a new cruise booking. So I just want to be clear about this. Celebrity and Luxury Cruise Connections do this for our guests to incentivize you to make a new booking. I know many of you guys might have an existing booking with Celebrity today, and I'm sure you got a really good deal for it. But we want to encourage you. Hopefully, we have inspired you to go to Alaska and hopefully a cruise tour. But if not, any celebrity booking anywhere where Celebrity travels to. If it's just a cruise only, it's $100 onboard credit. If it's a cruise tour, it's $200 onboard credit that is going to be available for every single booking that you make within the next 2 weeks with us through Luxury Cruise Connections exclusively on any Celebrity cruise. Again,
Carlos, you are very generous, I might say, very generous in offering such a great offer.
Well, thanks to you, because you guys are helping us sponsor this. So thank you very, very much. I know that's something special. By the way, that is combinable with all the other existing promotions, published promotions by Celebrity, as well as agency promotions that we might have going on at the same time. Right. So very much combinable with basically everything. I think the only thing is not combinable with is onboard bookings, or it's also combinable with.
That is correct. If they're booked onboard bookings, this is a double, so it's not combinable.
That double dipping is not allowed. Okay.
They get a great offer on onboard separately. Yes.
Okay, good. But this is definitely something very special. So if you guys are interested, please let us know. I mean, like I said, we're very easy to do business with. Just send us an email, reply back to the invitation, send us a note, let us know you're interested in learning more about a particular celebrity itinerary, and we'll be very happy to assign you to one of our cruise advisors that can take really good care of you and walk you literally by the hand to get you all set up and ready to go on Celebrity. All right, ready for the Q&A side of things. What questions do we have? Let's see. First of all, I want to ask Stephen, who we were chatting with at the beginning of our conversation. I'm not sure if he's still with us. Stephen, or maybe he had to drop off. He had to drop off, unfortunately. Okay, that's fine. We'll follow up with him later. But what questions?
You're not talking about me, Carlos, are you?
Say that again?
No.
You're not looking for me, right, Carlos?
No, not you.
Okay.
No, another Stephen.
Okay.
So Diane was asking, I want to see puffins up close. Which cruises in 24 and which particular shore excursions will see puffins?
Sorry, what was that?
Puffins? Puffins? Puffins?
Diane, you want to unmute yourself for a second?
The easiest way to see.
Yes. Puffins are those birds that have the funny looking beaks with the orange. They're a thick beak. They nest during the summer, and usually they're in Iceland, maybe some in Greenland, some in Scotland, and they usually they nest up high, so that you may have rib boats going to see them, but you're far away. And there are some places in Iceland where you can actually land on the shore and get closer to see them.
So anywhere on the Kenai Peninsula will be good for that.
Anywhere? I'm sorry?
On the Kenai, it's called the Kenai Peninsula. The Kenai Peninsula is basically the peninsula just off the Gulf of Alaska with destinations like Seward or Homer. And
I've been to Seward. I've been to Alaska last year. I'm more interested in going to other areas in 2024.
So you'll have opportunity.
I missed my opportunity in Alaska last year. I tried. I couldn't find any shore excursions to see puffins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's I don't know of shore excursions specifically. The only way to guarantee seeing puffins is to go to the Seward Sea Life Center. Now, it's of course not wildlife in its natural habitat, but there are puffins there as part of their rookery. To see puffins in the wild is tough, as you point out, but to see them, you would need to be around the Kenai Peninsular area.
Well, that's good for future time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And
Yeah. Carlos, excuse me. Can you ask, Derek is on vacation this week. Can you ask him or someone to get in touch with me? Because I would like to do this in 2024. To see.
Count on it, Diane. We'll follow up with you for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we have another question from LaShawn Fairley. When is the best time to take a group of Floridian single women to see the Great Northern Lights combined with rail tour, if possible?
So basically end of August, early September. That's the only time that it is even possible to be able to do this. The Northern Lights are mostly always there, but you can't see them because there's 24 hours of sunlight when you're in Alaska during the summer part of the season. So what you're really looking to do is push yourself as late in the season as possible for it to be dark enough for you to have the opportunity to see the Northern Lights. So the Aurora season, quote unquote, as it's defined by the Aurora Visitor Center in Fairbanks, starts in the middle of August, but really you want to push that as far as the back end as possible. So my recommendation is this: you want to be on one of the last 2 cruise tours of the season, which is going to put you in the middle of August and the early September. And you want that cruise tour to end in Fairbanks. That means you're doing a northbound itinerary. You're not doing a southbound itinerary, because again, that's just going to put you in Fairbanks as late in the season as humanly possible, which is what you want to do in order to give yourself some of the best opportunity for Northern Lights. The second recommendation I have is to add a night or 2 of independent travel on top of the cruise tour when you are in Fairbanks. So if your cruise tour ends in Fairbanks, which is what I'm telling you to do, typically that's a fly out destination, right? So you get to Fairbanks, you fly out the next day. Well, you want more time there in order to give yourself more opportunities for the Northern Lights. You also want to get out of the city. There's lots of excursions available in Fairbanks where they'll take you out into the countryside. You know, it's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning. You can have a blanket, you can have hot chocolate, and you wait. That's the deal for seeing the Northern Lights. So one of the last 2 cruise tours of the season end in Fairbanks. Add a couple nights of independent travel in Fairbanks on top of it, and book yourself out an excursion into the countryside. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Question: any particular hotel or anything that you would recommend, particularly for? By the way, LaShawn, so we, as a full-fledged travel agency, will be able to help you book all of this together. So we'll help you book the cruise tour, and we'll help you set up that hotel, that independent hotel, post the cruise tour, and also the flights and transfers, so that we make the whole process seamless. So you're saying try to be outside of the city, Brendan. Any particular property outside of the city recommend?
There's a couple of things you can do. I would stay in the city, and then I would go out of the city on the excursion to do it, because that's going to be the best way. So either you could do one of 2 things. The property I like the most is Pike's Waterfront Lodge, which is a great property, just very close and accessible to the airport. We utilize that as part of our cruise tours. That's going to be the most comfortable property you can stay in Fairbanks. From there, I would do the overnight excursions where you're going out into the countryside late at night and then coming back to the property. However, if you do want to stay out of the city, probably the best way to do it is as part of the my God, I'm drawing a blank. The Fairbanks, what do you call it, with the heated water from volcanic
Thermal waters?
The Fairbanks thermal spa, which is about 20 minutes, 30 minutes outside of the city. That's a really nice destination to kind of be out and out of the city and having the opportunity to experience Northern Lights. So one of those two places I would pick.
Cool. And like I said, we'll be very happy to help you plan all of those details for you and help you put together the group. And we'll get with Bo and negotiate a really good group rate and some tour conductors and free cabins and free stuff for you and your friends.
It's called
Thank you, I appreciate
they're called the Chena Hot Springs, the Chena Hot Springs Resort. That's what it's called.
There you go. Chena Hot Springs Resort. Okay, and we'll take care of that for sure. All right, good. What other questions do we have? I see a lot of people paying a lot of attention. I wanna hear the questions. Let me see, Godfrey, talk to me. What do you want to know? What did you like? Let me unmute you for a second. Hold on. I want to hear your voice.
I've been to Alaska already.
There you
I
go.
want to just hear you guys because I'm thinking somewhere more in the Mediterranean, like a Greece store or something like that in 20.
Okay. All right. Well, the good news is that $100 shipboard credit offer applies also for Mediterranean itinerary. So happy to take you there as well.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
Thank you for joining us
If
today.
you haven't done Greece yet, I recommend
No, I
it.
haven't. But I did the Alaska. I did, as a matter of fact, Celebrity, where we flew to Auckland and went around New Zealand and Sydney and back, and that was a wonderful tour. And I must say, I started on Carnival Cruise, my first 2 cruises. Then I went to Princess when I went to Alaska, and then I went to Celebrity when we went to that Australian tour. And you're right, the service was just A1. We just love
Thank
it.
you.
And I'm a
Thank
Captain's Club member, and my
Good.
future tours would be Celebrity. I really enjoy the service.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for sure. And Kevin, sitting there in his beautiful lodge up there. Can I unmute you for a second? I want to hear your voice. You gotta hit unmute though, because otherwise, there you go.
There you go.
Unmute. Hello?
Hey, Kevin.
Hello?
Hey, we can hear you just fine. Tell us, what did you think? Are you inspired?
A lot of the stuff I've done, but I want to do it again. To be truthful, the best cruise I ever took to Alaska was on the Alaskan ferries out of Bellingham. You heard of that?
Do it. It's bare bones.
Yeah, it absolutely, but it was wonderful. The places you can go are uncomparable.
Yeah.
You know?
So the Alaskan ferry system is actually one of the is one of the most extensive ferry systems anywhere. Alaska being what it is, many places are accessible only either by air, by rail, or by ferry.
Correct.
And so if you want to visit some really out there places, actually the ferry system in Alaska is a wonderful way to do it. It's just not what we do, Kevin.
Right, I understand. Yeah.
Visiting the core.
The times I've been on Celebrity, they've been wonderful. We did a repositioning, when the Alaska season was done, back to Florida. We did one from Argentina, went all the way around and came back to Miami, so we've done some good ones. Oh, we did a last one too, my wife said, excuse me. But we've kind of, I don't know, we don't have any real, we jump around, but as we've gotten older and retired, we like longer cruises.
Yeah.
That's our big thing now. We're home like half the year.
My longest was I did the Grand South America. So I 60 days all the way around South America, went up into Manaus, through the Amazon, a real blast.
Okay, last year we did a 128 day.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
around the world.
Wow.
Very cool.
That was wonderful. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Kevin, I definitely very much look forward to connecting with you soon, and hopefully we can get you on another cruise, whether a short or a long one. You can count on us. I mean, we're obviously.
Just make sure it's Celebrity Cruise, not anything else.
Well, we gotta get Celebrity doing some world cruises soon. Maybe we can get Kevin in one of those.
There you go.
I'll never say never.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
We're
looking more for destinations too, and it's a lot of times it seems like ships, they just keep going back to the same ports. I would suggest to look for new ports.
Sure.
Look outside the box a little.
The one
That's,
thing
that's
about
what that would
Celebrity,
be my suggestion.
I agree with you 100%. And that is really our goal. Destination is part of who we are as a brand. That is one of our biggest pillars.
Yeah.
So trust me, we're consistently looking for ways to get to different itineraries, obviously, because we have a lot of guests that are repeaters. And what they want is new destinations. So we are very focused on that as well. Thank you.
Right. So that's about all I have to say. But I've enjoyed listening. It's always interesting to hear.
Thank you.
What was the name of the guy in Everett, Jay? Who does the tours? Oh, no. The other guy. Okay, never mind. My wife doesn't know. But there's a guy right in our state, and he has like these last minute things. And he had Travel with Alan. Have you ever heard of him?
Travel with Alan. Oh, he's one of an Asian out there. I know. I think I remember.
Yeah, and he always in the summer has these land cruise tours, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually, pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah. So just so you know, Kevin, the way that works is agencies like us, right? We, as soon as those itineraries come out, we go out there and we hold a lot of group space, right? We start holding space at very low rates. And then as prices start going up and availability starts becoming a little bit more scarce, then we go out with very special and discounted prices. We happen to have a very special relationship with Celebrity as well as many other cruise lines, where whenever Celebrity has some space that they need to fill, they'll come to us and be like, hey, reach out to your clients. Don't publish this on your website. Don't publish this on social media. You can't share this publicly because we don't want to disrupt the market. But here's some special rates that you can share privately with your clients so that they can take advantage of some like last minute specials. So count on us to be able to provide you with that as well. We like to be a little bit more in the luxury side of things. So instead of us being the deal oriented type of thing, we like to get to know you, understand who you are, what you like, what's really important to you, and then cater the right experience for you. Obviously taking advantage of those last minute specials or those very special pricing. So looking forward to the opportunity again to meet you and establish a relationship with you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I answer that question? There's a question that about Celebrity caters to autism. Absolutely right. Absolutely true, because Celebrity and Royal Caribbean, as you know, are sister brands. So most of the services are shared services. So we have the same exact system and process as well. And we definitely have we have an incredible department that handles that as well for us. So yes, the answer is yes.
Bo, can I add to that question? Because I know that Royal Caribbean partners with Autism on the Seas. Are you all part of that partnership?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Well, I've taken quite a bit of your time, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that we are here to continue to answer any questions, even if we're offline. Feel free to reply back to one of our emails or any of the invitations that you've gotten, and just say, hey, I forgot to ask this question or whatever. We'll be happy to get back to you with the answers. If we don't know the answer, we have incredible access to our partners here at Celebrity, Bo and Brendan, that can help us get the right answers for you. Ideally, we want to make sure that we create the right experience for you guys, and the only way to do that is, we like to say that we're experts at all of these destinations and the ships and everything, but we like to call ourselves experts at the client, right? That's what we really do best. We get to know you, we get to understand what you like and what's important to you, and then we cater the experience to you. We're extremely honored to have had the opportunity to have Brendan and Bo today to talk about Alaska and Celebrity Cruises. One more question. Anybody else wants to ask anything else? If not, I'm going to let these guys loose.
Going once, going twice.
Going once, going twice. Perfect. So listen, this recording of today's event is going to be sent together with the event offer within the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll add some more information on Alaska and celebrity as much as we can. Ideally, we hope to have inspired you today to travel to Alaska and to do it on celebrity, ideally, right, Bo?
Yes, absolutely. The one and only.
And hopefully, if you already done business with us, want to thank you and for your loyalty and for obviously giving us an opportunity to be part of your dream vacations. And if you haven't done business with us, then I very much look forward and welcome you to join our family. Like I said, I mean, we're all about personalized relationships, personal relationships, and personalized service. Sorry, and we're here to really help craft the perfect experience for you. So that's it for today,
Now, what
everybody.
you do, Carlos, a vacation of a lifetime? Is that what you give? A lifetime vacation to a vacation of a lifetime, right?
There you go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly right. Thank you very much. And like always, Bo and Brendan, thank you so much for the partnership. Thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you for joining us, and see you in the next one.
Contact us at luxurycruiseconnections.com.